definitely tune in.
Triggered Reds, back at it. It's been a while, but you know, we never go away, do we? And roll on 21.
I was expecting the old posh introductions that you used to do that would become famous amongst our many listeners. In particular, Matt was a big fan of Stephen's introductions to the show.
Well, I'll get back on them in good time. It's all about form and poddy grooving and that.
Yeah, you've got to get back into the rhythm, haven't you? I think it's easy to say, oh, well, we were flying until COVID happened, because obviously we didn't have a huge fan base, but we were in a nice rhythm of doing them and putting the time in and spending time staying up late, editing the videos and getting it out there. And our young technical maestro, Mr. Sorensen, had us on every platform, so you can still find us on. What are we on?
What aren't we on is the question. You've got Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Deezer. We're on iHeartRadio.
YouTube.
We're on some sort of other FM.
Are we on an FM?
Yeah.
Oh, that's sick, that.
Sorted it, lad.
I wonder if you can, how'd you get it? Could you like listen to that in the car, like on the radio then?
Not on the radio, but it'd just be an app, I think. To be honest, I've not bothered listening to us on iHeart FM, but Spotify, yeah.
It's good to know you're out there, isn't it?
Yeah,
on all platforms.
Definitely.
We've stepped our game up at the minute.
Your game up.
We've got
your game up.
Blue snowballs, I think they're called, aren't they?
Yeah,
just
we
looking
bought
at it now.
3 blue snowballs. See, at the time, fans, when it all shut down, we were going to have our first guest on. We actually signed Brendan Rodgers to do it. No, we didn't, but we were going to have our first guest on. And
he was a blue.
Yeah, we bought 3 high-end microphones. That didn't happen, and then we've just been stuck here with good equipment for ages. And
good equipment and good intentions.
So this is our first run with the high-end microphones. Blue snowballs, they're called, if anyone's interested out there. I've looked them up.
Link in description.
Yeah.
We were going to do a whole host of things. We were going to do video stuff. We even had the option to record in the old barn, if you've ever frequented that establishment in the Anfield area. But obviously everything went tits up with COVID. But we're back now. Lots of shit.
Nice little brass house round the corner.
There is a brass house, yeah. Less than a £5 for all your needs. Steve's frequented it many a time. And it's also on a Shield Road special about prostitutes in Liverpool, if you've ever watched that. But lots of shit has gone down. We spoke about it yesterday. There's been all kinds of shit happening in the world. We've had pandemics. We've had George Floyd. We've had Donald Trump. And we've had Liverpool finally lift the title. So,
but the biggest thing that's happened out of all them, at the ripe old age of 29, David finally lost his virginity.
Oh, yeah, it did, yeah. That was decent. It was decent. Brief and painful, but it was good. Yeah. So, literally yesterday, we were out.
He was a good lad.
We were in the Cabbage Hall. We were in a bubble.
We were friends having a little dance.
We had a little dance. We had a little tikka masala. We watched Liverpool West Brom, which was just terrible, really, to watch. We went with my uncle. He had asked me out to watch the game. One of our mates that was there, he'd been climbing the walls in the house, so I'd had plans with Steve for about a week. We were going to have a nice quiet night in, a few drinks, record the podcast. We ended up watching West Brom in the Cabbage, and it was decent. It was nice to be out there, but the game was just awful, wasn't it? I think at one point they were playing a 6-4 formation. West Brom.
I saw one of them on the bar, just waiting,
just sitting there to clear up anything that was a barring opportunity. But I don't know what to think about that game. I think it's just you watch the game, those games, the Fulham game, the West Brom game. They're crying out for a Thiago, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're crying out for someone in midfield with a bit of bollocks, and I know Curtis Jones has got that, but he's not quite there yet. And we did discuss his involvement in the goal, and Stephen's against that sort of thing, aren't you, really?
Against what, sorry? Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. We'll get to that. With Jones, though, yeah, he's very dynamic, isn't he? Very direct and a beautiful touch. Like,
beautiful human being.
We were talking about this the other week, and there's something in players that you can't teach. And I've got a hypothesis, and David shares it with me, that in Liverpool, there's a lot of good footballers. Like, you just play on the streets, and everyone's a decent player, aren't they? Like, more often than not. So, particularly in North Liverpool as well. Like, that just seems to be the case. What I've found. I'm sure you agree, but like, there's just something with lads at like the age of 12, 13, where the touch is already there, and what you need after that is academy training. So you get players like Jay Spearing, for example. Like, he probably wouldn't have been blessed with the ability someone like Jones has got, naturally.
Definitely not.
But there's a lot of players around Liverpool, around the Northwest, really, where they've got that you can't teach already, and all they need to go to the next level is the academy type of training, which Jones has flourished in, and he just needs more games in that. But yeah, what you were on about yesterday is when Jones gave the ball away, and then we ended up conceding because of that, effectively, didn't we? And we were in the cabbage, or like, a few people were going, shouting dickhead at Jones, and I can understand why. But he's just a kid, really. But my whole thing with that is, I will shout at a player, like at the telly or at the match. I'll moan at them if they've directly contributed to that goal. But my thing is, when there's 2 phases of play or whatever after the goal, I'm like, well, give him a break. That's my thing on it.
Well, Klopp didn't mention it in the articles I was reading this morning. And I know what you're saying, but the only thing with me is, when you've got the ball in that position that he had the ball in, the pass was straight on to the centre-back to the left. All he had to do was give it. But he took an extra touch, then gave it, and that's when the player intercepted the ball. And the only problem with that is, and to counteract your argument, is the player's body position's already set. They're already moving forward to counter-attack. They're already stepping out to play their attackers offside, so they have to follow them out. So when that happens, they have to reset. And when they reset, they're never going to be ready for that interchange, that second phase of play. And that's why it goes out for the corner.
So even if they got the ball from Jonesy, it's behind them effectively.
Yeah. But they would have, if he passed it when he should have passed it, they would have got the ball to feet, played it straight out to Robbo, and now we're on the break. And that's what's so good, and not bad, because bad's not the right word, but it's our blessing and our curse at the same time. We're so eager to counter-press that our body position's already open to the field.
Oh, you're right.
Whereas if it was like an Everton, they wouldn't be thinking like that. They'd be better equipped to defend the second phase and third phase of play. And then obviously we defend, we concede the corner, and they score. And I was reading what Allardyce was saying. He was like, we got better in the second half. We were able to pass the ball better, and there was moments of quality for the goal. Jesus Christ. If that's a moment of quality, like what type of football are you watching? You've got teams like West Brom. I appreciate West Brom have got to play that game, and credit to them. When you've got teams like Tottenham, like I was reading an article on Sky Sports today, and it was called "Why Are Tottenham So Negative?" And when you go through all the games, they were saying they got 7 points against like I think it was like City, United, and Chelsea or something like that. And they all got praised. It was Arsenal, actually. They got praised about how they played and defensive masterclass and blah, blah, blah. But then when you think about, Wolves yesterday or Crystal Palace, in the second half, they had something like 3 shots. Yeah. And, Harry Kane drops into the midfield to make it a 6. And as good as he is in that area, that's not where you want Harry Kane. I'm not arsed.
Oh, not the 6?
No, he made the midfield a 6.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I
thought you meant Kane was literally playing the number 6.
He probably could play the 6. He's got great vision, hasn't he?
The Fabinho role, yeah.
It's fucking crazy,
He is good, Kane.
Kane is great, and there was a passage of play yesterday when he just dribbled, past 3 or 4 in a close, confined space, and he's made my opinions on him change, because I was like, he's just a striker, he can't do anything else. But when you're that good at what he does, that's where he needs to be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know it's to congest the midfield and to win the ball back up high, and I know it's to use Son's pace to put him in, but that's too specific a tool to rely on to win games. You can't just rely on the fact that, right, we're going to play this way, we're going to play so fucking deep against every team in the league, and we're just going to rely on Sonny to score. Because if you're playing a team like West Brom, that's not going to happen. You're not going to have that space. You've got to adapt. You've got players in the team that are internationals, quality fucking players that would get into Liverpool's team, arguably. Kane would, Sonny would.
Yeah, well, there's an argument there that you know, Tottenham fans would probably reject Firmino and Mane, for example, instead of Kane and Son.
Yeah, and you
And
wouldn't
rightly
blame
so.
them.
And there'd be a lot of Liverpool fans who'd reject Son and Kane instead of Mane and Firmino. And yeah, I can see both why they would.
You wouldn't blame them at all.
But Kane and Son, like, they are a good duo, aren't they? Who've they got on the right? Is it Bergwijn or does Bale play enough?
Bale's injured at the minute, isn't he? And that was always going to be the risk with him. Yeah. But you know, he's got that bit of stardust, hasn't he? And you could play Bale in that Kane role. You know that it's like a deep 10 at the minute, isn't it?
Who is the right side then? Is it Bergwijn?
They've got Bergwijn, but he goes either side, doesn't he? Just like your sexual orientation.
Well, yeah, there is that. But because I was going to say he hit the post against us from the left, didn't he? So
yeah, I think there's a lot of that. There's a lot of fuckery going on in the press conferences in recent times, and
you got Lucas Moura.
Lucas Moura's good, but he's kind of been dropped. Ali's been dropped. He's kind of reinvigorated this Tanguy and Ndombele.
Rightly so with Dele Alli.
Yeah, he's shit. Yeah, I mean, he had a good game, that Tanguy and Ndombele yesterday, and he looked like the player that they kind of bought. But I kind of look at him like I look at Naby Keita or us, like he just hasn't done it yet. And Tanguy hasn't had that many injury problems from what I've seen. But with us and Keita, when you actually watch the Crystal Palace game back,
7-0 one.
Yeah, he actually played well when you watch it back.
Yeah.
And when you watch like his statistics about forward passing and all that.
Well, he got the assist for Mane, didn't he? I think.
Well, no, it was Bobby, but he put the ball in, which led to the little foray of challenges, and then Bobby just chopped that pass into Mane. But
fair dues.
He, I don't know what to think about him. I think he with our midfield now, surely to Christ, Thiago's got to play the next game. I don't know who we got next.
Tomorrow, innit, we play, or the next day. I'll have to check. I'll come back to that, yeah. But just digressing on Tottenham and coming back to us, that Fulham game that was a draw, I wasn't annoyed with them because they came to play.
He played well, and it was very aggressive.
In the game, I couldn't say we deserved the win, and I never get wound up about that or annoyed when another team. If Liverpool don't deserve it on the day, I'm never that bothered, to be honest. I'm like, well, what can you do there? They just played better than we. They played their game better than we played our game. The only team that can defeat
us is us.
Yeah.
Like, if we play like we played against Palace, teams won't have a chance. And you're right, play teams that step up and play and they don't take any shit.
Yeah.
Fair dues.
That's it. I'm never annoyed when, like I say, the other team plays their game better than our game. And then coming back to West Brom yesterday, like you said then, what do we expect? Of course they're going to do that. The two Allardyces managing, the two Sammys managing them, and it's West Brom at Anfield. Like, you know what they're going to do, 3 days prior. You could play West Brom in 6 months, have 6 months prep. We know what they're going to do, under Allardyce. But that is Klopp's kryptonite, innit? Sometimes he breaks it down, but sometimes he just can't do it.
Well, last year we broke them down, but every other year we haven't.
Yeah. Well, last year and the year before have been anomalies, haven't they? I think this year, the Premier League's just back to normal. Pitch-wise, not with the fans or anything, but just because we were outliers last year, and then it was City and us the year before, City the year before, it's back now where there's no more outliers. It's just, this is regular football, anyone can take points off anyone. It was just so rare that we dominated last year.
We were talking, weren't we, about Everton yesterday, and they lost 3 or 4 on the run or whatever they lost, and now they're second in the league.
Yeah.
Now we lost 4 games over 2 seasons.
That's crazy, that.
4 games over 2 seasons. So you couldn't get into the top 4 if you lost 7, 8, 9, 10 games. But now you can, and the Premier League's so open. VAR, I believe, took 6, maybe 8 points off us this season already.
Well, sorry to interrupt, the whole VAR pool has been debunked. I'm not arsed.
Yeah.
We have not benefited from that. United have been
the biggest beneficiaries, yeah. They got, we were talking about Fernandes, quality player, but someone was saying no one scored more goals than Bruno Fernandes since he signed. Fucking hell, they're all pens. I know you've still got to put them in, but...
Lad, one of them, he stood on the Villa player. Let's just say it was Tyrone Mings last season.
Mingsy?
He stood on him and got a penalty for it. And then scored the pen, obviously.
Honestly, it's a fucking shit show.
It went to VAR. It clearly shows Fernandes committing the foul. It should be a Villa free kick. They give it a penalty to United. There was the one at Old Trafford, weren't it, last year when who was fouled for us, Fabinho or Matip, and then United went on the counter. Jamesy whipped it in, and Rashford scored.
Yeah,
and it should have been a foul to Liverpool. So they only scored in that game because they got a VAR decision, which should have went for us, go for them.
Well, you look at it now, like, I was just looking at the run-in there, and we got an interesting run-in, and I'll get to that in a sec, and we'll touch on the Wijnaldum contract news as well. But I think, like, with that game against Everton, it's been well documented. The goal should have stood, and you've robbed Henderson of a captain's goal at Goodison to win the derby, do you know what I mean?
Completely different game, because it goes back to Pickford being Butterfingers again.
Yeah,
like that.
100%, and we should have won that game, and then we'd be, what are we, 3 points ahead of Everton, we'd be 5 points ahead of Everton, and, you know, there's all that, what comes to it, and it's a derby win and all the rest of it, but there's just so much that's wrong with it at the minute, and it's happening in every game. Like, even the Everton game, like, fucking Cavani, he does, like, the most narrow throat choke I've ever seen on a man. It's like he was choking his fucking Adam's apple. Yeah. He didn't have his hand around his throat, he had his finger around his fucking Adam's apple. Yeah. It was, like, the randomest thing ever. Like, it's still just wrong all the time.
It was like a clit grab.
Tushy squeeze. But yeah, our run-in. So we got Newcastle next on Wednesday. And then we've got Southampton, which will be really interesting because they're on fire. They got some injuries now. Of course, Ingsy's been injured again, which is a shame for him. And then we've got Villa in the FA Cup, and then we've got United, Burnley, Tottenham. Now, Burnley are always a cunt. Yeah. Like, he's another one of them, Sean Dyche, that just does not want Liverpool to play and to win. And, you know, fair dues, like, what he's done at that club is a fucking minor miracle. But that's, you know, it's an interesting run, and the way our form's been going, it's like win, draw, win, draw, win, draw.
Yeah.
You know, we need to get into the rhythm of winning them games. And if we did play like we were playing last season, granted Verge is injured, but we've conceded less since Verge has been gone. Obviously the Villa game had an impact on that. We'd be fucking 15 points clear now.
Oh no. Yeah. Well, that's sort of my example, eh? You can't think too far ahead. You're not going to think, oh my God, we got Burnley in 4 games. But for example, you know how Burnley are going to set up already now, don't you?
Yeah.
Can we conquer it, basically? But, you know, I'll credit Dyche. She signed a few ballers in Snodgrass, Robbie Brady, and J-Rod Rodriguez.
J-Rod, fucking hell. What is he, fucking baseballer, Alex Rodriguez?
That's what they call him, J-Rod. I just thought it was funny, like I'm talking like I'm his mate, but
you were fucking Jay Reezy down the Burnley arms.
Nobody's tried to sign some players that can actually play. Like, I don't know if you've seen like that Brady and Snodgrass.
Yeah.
They've got
Brady's
good whips on them.
Would you remember last season we were having like the Salah debate about his conversion rate?
Yeah.
Well, J-Rod, as you've affectionately named him, his conversion rate was silly. It was like he scored something like 20 goals in out of 49 shots or something mad in all competitions. Because I was saying like Salah scored like 19 from 138 shots.
Yeah,
and we were having that debate. I mean, this year he's been absolutely clinical.
Yeah. See that there, Tielemans and Vardy are on the bench there for Leicester.
Vardy, yeah, that's mad. Well, that's the thing with Leicester. You know, they're still very reliant on Vardy. And I was watching that podcast, what's it called? The Beautiful Game podcast. I can't remember the hosts' names of it. But they had Brendan on about 6 months ago, and he had Studge on recently. It was quite good. I think a couple of the lads on it are Reds, and one of them's a Gooner. But obviously they were quizzing Brendan on how things have gone at Leicester and this, that and the other. And, you know, Vardy is like fucking... He's like Benjamin Button, isn't he? Like, he's getting fucking younger as he's getting older. Like, when he first started off, he was shit. He was erratic and he was everywhere. I remember Leicester beat United 5-2. Do you remember that game? Was it Nigel tight cut Pearson?
Oh, that buzz cut. Yeah, it was him.
Yeah, he's got the tightest buzz cut you've ever seen.
United had Di Maria and Falcao.
I'm sure Di Maria scored like a lovely lob in that game, but yeah, I remember seeing him and I'm thinking, fucking hell, he's got a bit, but you think he was going to be a flash in the pan, but he has been quality. I know they've got, is it Takechi Iheanacho or whatever his name is?
Yeah.
Is that there he is, yeah?
Shrewd signing at the time, but...
Well, he was a proper really poacher, wasn't he, for City?
Yeah.
I remember when, like, they sold him, and I was like, is Jesus any better than him, at the time?
Yeah.
Because I just thought Jesus was a bit of a poacher. That goal he scored against us this year was cute, but...
Well, he come on the scene when Rashford sort of did, so it was like City had an answer to Rashford in Iheanacho, but obviously Rashford's clearly better.
Well, I was just looking there at the article for Wijnaldum. They've offered him a deal, haven't they, at Liverpool?
Yeah. From
January 1st, he's free to talk to foreign clubs. And obviously, Barcelona are there. Barca are what, fourth at the minute? I think they're about 12 points off Atletico Madrid.
I've got to be honest, I've not really kept up with any of the leagues.
Barca aren't in the top four.
I know Atletico are top, and at one point Barca were 8th.
Yeah, Atletico are top. I'll just pull up the league here. And obviously, that's a bit of a fuck you to Suarez, to Barca, isn't it?
Oh, big time. Lad, he only went for 5 million.
I would have fucking re-signed him for that.
Yeah, for that. You're not losing. It's... no damage control there, is it? It's potential reward and zero risk, innit? Let's be honest.
100%.
Firmino's injured or he's unfit. Luis Suarez.
Well, look at the situation we're in now with Jota getting injured and Bobby having to play. Yeah. Granted, Bobby's form's the best it's been in 3 years at the minute, but the table as it stands now, Atletico at top on 32, Real Madrid are on 32, but Atletico Madrid have got 2 games in hand on Real Madrid. They've only played 13 and the goal difference is 21. Real just don't, its goal difference is 13. Barcelona have played 1 game more than Atletico Madrid and are on 24 points.
Yeah, Barca, that club's just a bit of a mess. The transfer policy is just whack.
Whack. They need San Gerard.
They're paying 80 million for random old players. They signed Paulinho from China for 40 mil.
Who was that lad they signed?
Granted,
the striker.
Granted, Paulinho, he was scoring goals, weren't he? So it was okay, yeah, that is a good signing, but you wouldn't do that at the time. They got Braithwaite.
That's it.
But they got him as an emergency signing because they had too many injuries, which is just a fucking joke.
Well, last season they offered Everton 80 million in January for Richarlison.
Did they? Yeah.
Yeah, and it got rejected. No, there was a formal offer made, 80 million quid.
But they've since La Masia sort of died out, the transfers have just been AWOL, I think.
Yeah,
it's sign him for that much money. They're obsessed with the profile, aren't they? Signing the player, and for them, it's also about image and image rights.
Yeah,
so Griezmann, he's marketable. He's sponsored by Xbox Fortnite.
But he's flopped though, hasn't he?
Yeah. He scored a few, hasn't he? But he's not as Atletico.
Dembele as well, he's flopped.
Even as France self. Dembele's a big one, because he'd only had a handful of games for Dortmund, and they were happy to just shell out 100 million for him. Granted, they had the Neymar money, but do some due diligence.
Yeah.
Haven't you got anyone who can just plug the gap for a bit? Your academy?
I mean, you sign Coutinho, you think that's a match made in heaven, and last season his form did improve at Bayern. They made it clear they didn't want to buy him, and now he's stayed at Barca, and he's playing for Barca, isn't he?
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, it's not really worked out. And if you go back through Barcelona's signings, where they've actually spent money and it's paid off, you got to go back to what? Suarez, then before that, David Villa. Before that, Piqué. Where they've actually bought a player in. Rakitic did what he had to do, but he was never unbelievable, was he? He was
very reliable. He scored the odd big goal.
6-7 out of 10 every game. He was no frills, was he?
Yeah, you're right.
Their transfer policy hasn't been that great. I mean, we've spoke about it in the past. They let Samuel Eto'o go, who's made for Barcelona's style of play. Bring in Zlatan.
That was such a weird transfer.
Yeah, and they got fucking bummed in that deal.
It was 40 million plus Eto'o for Ibrahimovic. And at the time, there's an argument
Wasn't it 50 million?
Either way.
Because I'm sure the article was the £50 million man.
I don't know, but either way, a straight swap at the time was good enough, because Ibrahimovic plus all that money was not better than Eto'o.
Well, look what Eto'o done the season after.
He's the only man to do that, isn't he? Win a treble with one club,
then go and win another one with another
in another league. Yeah,
remember he signed for Everton, and the whole thing was they brought out a song saying you signed Lambert, we signed Samuel Eto'o, and then he left for Sampdoria in January.
Yeah, and then he told Lukaku, if you want to grow, you need to leave Everton.
Fucking hell, that's heavy though.
Typical Everton,
Well, they're on the rebuild now, aren't they? And I know we spoke about it last night, but you've got to stick with Ancelotti, like, you know,
Yeah.
come what may. The only thing for us is, and not Liverpool, but like me and you, our opinions. You talk about Ancelotti, you talk about Rafa, and you talk about Mourinho, and have they proved it in this decade? You know what I mean? Like, can they transition into modern football? Because they are very much managers of the early 2000s, aren't they?
Yeah,
and onwards. Obviously, Mourinho's won shit with easy clubs. You know, he's had the money, he's had Ronaldo, he's won shit.
He'll always have Inter and Porto, won't he? That he can point to.
I mean,
for the treble and that.
Inter with the treble, yeah, but at the same time, so fucking hell, what a squad they had. You know what I mean? It wasn't like they were a pauper, but no, what he done and the way, like, you know, he done the robbery over Barca and or over Pep and, you know, the players he had there. I'm sure Diego Milito only played one season there and he scored like 28 goals that season.
It was about a few months ago because Sky kept putting content out, you know, from like yesteryear because of the lockdown. And that final was on there, Bayern and Inter from 2010, and he just took the piss, Milito.
Yeah, he was on fire, wasn't he?
At the time, like, the 2010 World Cup was coming up, and Argentina's forwards were like
6 strikers.
They had Higuain, Milito on form, Lavezzi, Messi, Aguero.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, fucking hell, lad. Like, has there ever been a better attacking group of players in an international side?
Not in a specific position, but it's
there probably has for someone like Italy in the 70s or someone, but not that I can remember.
Well, it's tough when you've got that many players in the position. Like, if you look at Chelsea now or even United, they've got too many midfielders and they're trying to squeeze square pegs into round holes, aren't they? They've got like Ziyech and Havertz and Juninho and,
you know,
not
what?
Juninho, Jorginho and Kante. And
put that out there to the fans. If anyone can come up with a better attacking line, a squad depth thing, you know, not like the starters, than Argentina in 2010, then put it in the comments.
No, you'll struggle. That was some strike force.
France have had a few, haven't they?
Well, don't be giving people answers, lad. Let them fucking find them themselves.
The thing with Argentina is they've always had dodgy defenders, haven't they? And they're a bit like Holland. Traditionally, Holland have had a great midfield and a great attack, but a bad defence.
Yeah. I mean, even when Holland had like Jap Stam, Van Bronckhorst at right back, wasn't it?
The defence just never good enough to get them over the line.
No, and with us, with England, we had like, just talking about Argentina's line, you know, mid-90s to early noughties, we had a fantastic selection of strikers we could have picked from. For England, you had like Alan Shearer, Fowler, Andy Cole, Rooney, Owen, Sheringham, Les Ferdinand. Fucking hell, the list goes on. Chris Sutton was English, wasn't he?
I believe so, yeah.
I'm not sure whether he got capped for another country, but like we had, I mean, they were all, some of them were yard dogs, weren't they, to be fair, but...
Oh, there's a lot of goals in there, though.
A lot of goals,
natural finishes, you know, Fowler in particular.
Even like later on, as some of them players kind of retired, we still had like Jermaine Defoe, Darren Bent. We had those 20 a season, even if they played for Charlton, they were getting 20 a season. Yeah. Strikers in the team. This game hasn't really took off, has it? We're watching Palace and Leicester as we speak.
He's onside, like...
Oh my God. Is that Zaha?
Yeah.
Yeah, Wilfred. Oh, he was offside in the end. We were debating this yesterday because the offside rule now, where you have to wait until the play is stopped. We just think it's a bit ridiculous because
it can cause injury.
Yeah, say you're bombing it after a pacey forward and you pull a fucking hamstring or something. Then, you know, what is the point? Do you know what I mean? Like,
or someone might 2-foot you.
Yeah, someone just goes in on a heavy lunge. I think for us, Liverpool, everyone's back now, other than Virgil. Do you know what I mean? Like, we need to stop talking about injuries at the club. Like, I know we've had our fair share this year, and I've never known anyone to have that many injuries. But other than Van Dijk being fit, we are there or thereabouts. And Carragher published an article on Sky either last night or this morning saying we must sign in January a centre-half. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I agree with him. We do need a centre-back. It's like, you look at that, Matip goes off last night, the go-to's Reece Williams. Although he looks the part for what he currently is, it's not reliable enough, is it? Like you said, if we had a Lovren but consistent, that'd be perfect. Not a world beater.
Yeah.
But just someone who can fit in. Like, a bit of a Ben Mee, but not even as good as Ben Mee. You know, just someone reliable who isn't going to do anything crazy.
I don't know if I said it to you, but I definitely said it to someone. I would have signed Vertonghen on a free.
Who did he go to? Back to Belgium or something?
No, he went to some... Oh, fuck's sake, I'll have to find out who it is. I forgot who it is.
No, you're right, though.
I remember he was up for grabs for free. Spurs didn't want to re-sign him. And you think, he's a Belgium international. He was captain in Spurs and Belgium last year. Like, surely to God.
Well, he can play as well, can't he?
Yeah, he's a great baller.
Ajax Academy, been at Tottenham for years.
Benfica he went to.
See, that's not a bad move.
And he's 33.
That'll be because they let Diaz go, innit?
Yeah.
I think.
Like, he's obviously not over the hill at 33, you know what I mean?
Well, you get 18 months out of him, wouldn't you?
He'd be fit for 15, 20 games a season. And, like, and not only that, natural left footer.
He's a reserve captain effectively as well. Yeah. If you needed a leader.
But you'd have that balance of the natural left footer on that side, because Verge plays left-sided centre-back with his right foot, so the pitch is open. Vertonghen would play that side, and you'd have Fabinho on the right next to him.
It's always a bonus to have a naturally left-footed centre-back in football. Like, I don't know why. Well, I probably would know why I ever thought about it, but it just is, isn't it? And people seem to make more of a meal if you've got two left-footed centre-backs, but not two right-footed.
Yeah,
why is that?
I don't know why that is. Probably because it's a bit more rare, I suppose. But we had Daniel Agger, obviously, didn't we? And his fitness just let him down. Like, he was top quality. People spoke about Rolls Royces then. Like, no one was ever talking about how good Daniel Agger was at playing out from the back and how cultured his left peg was.
Yeah.
And he scored some big goals in some big games. Remember that finish against Chelsea?
Oh, yeah, great
finish. It was like a proper striker's finish, wasn't it, inside the box?
It's probably because there's less versatility with a left footer, you'd think. Like, you think of a right footer, they just seem to be more adaptable with the weaker foot, whereas someone like, let's say, Giggs, for example.
Or Risa.
Yeah, it is just left foot. And even though the left foot is fantastic.
They always say my left foot, don't they, as well, for those fucking type of players. But
yeah.
No, I know what you mean. Like, we can't all be gifted with 2 feet like myself, but...
You got to be a good player, though, for it to matter.
When I've played centre-back, I'd prefer to play on the right side. But whenever we play, like... When we play with our John, he just makes me play on the left.
Yeah.
But I would always rather play on that side because I think it's easier to pass. The pitch is open, your body's open to the pitch.
Especially if you beat your marker. If you just beat your marker in one move, beat the press, that's where you have got the whole pitch to aim at.
That's it. But I don't know who I'd go for. Like, there must be players available. Like, do you know the way we signed, like, obviously it's a bit random, but we signed that Andy Lonergan, didn't we, that goalie last year?
Yep.
And he didn't get any medals or nothing, because he would have got participation medals that the club get made.
Yeah.
But he's gone, like, wow, like, how amazing, like, I've had a season of a lifetime at Liverpool. There'll be centre-backs out there that are free agents that could come in and do a job.
Stephen Corker.
I was going to say, yeah, we used to play him up front at one point.
Yeah.
Like, Klopp played him as a battering ram. Jesus Christ, they were dark days.
I know.
But there must be, like, just had a chance there for these, but there's got to be someone available that wouldn't cost a lot of money to come in and just do the job.
Yeah, let us know in the comments, like, who's a patchable centre-back. When I say patchable, you know, like putting a patch over a wound. Like, who can just come in and do a job for 6 to 18 months.
It all depends, doesn't it? With a player like that, you just go, we're not after a resale value. We're paying 5 to 15 million, sound, and you just accept it. But surely they've got to be looking at that, because I know we all love Klopp and he's got faith in the kids and stuff, but Carragher was saying in our article, that position, the youngsters will make mistakes because they're inexperienced. And when you've got Fabinho, who we were waxing lyrical about yesterday for how brilliant he is as a centre-back, you've got to have an established centre-back teaching a kid the ropes. Like Gomez, Van Dijk, do you know what I mean? Like, that's the setup you want, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
When you're trying to bring through a young centre-half.
Yeah. You
don't want a makeshift centre-half teaching a lad who was in, what was he in? The Northern Conference last season.
Yeah, Kidderminster.
It's good. Like, obviously he's come on. I said to you, didn't I? He did come through the academy. It wasn't a case that we bought him from there, but I don't know. I can't really think top of my head who I'd consider.
There aren't many. Like, I put this on one of the groups the other week. Take Van Dijk out the league. Who's the best centre back? Head and shoulders. No one is. And you're scratching your head. If you say Laporte, it's like, yeah, you're probably right, but he can't
stay fit, can he?
Well, he's always injured, and he's not at that Van Dijk level anyway. There's an argument where the game's moved on and it's so attacking based now, it is harder to defend, and that is the case. But I think if you put Carragher, Terry, Sol Campbell in this era, a fit Ledley King, you would noticeably see how good they still are. Yeah. It's not just about the game's evolved. Centre-backs, defenders have gotten worse as a consequence of the last 10 years.
The consistency of a centre-back has dropped. Yeah. But it's like you were saying, it's because the full-backs have to get up there so high. If Jamie Carragher didn't have Steve Finnan sat next to him, you know, Finnan was an attacking full-back. He'd get balls in the box.
Yeah.
But he was like, you know, he's not like a Trent. Sometimes Trent doesn't even pretend to get back.
I know.
You know, he just goes and stays. And then on that right side, we concede so many goals because Salah's not the best defensively. Whereas on the left-hand side, when Verge is fit, you've got Verge, Robbo and Mane.
Yeah.
Not on goes down that side, ever. You don't even try.
Who's our dedicated splitter? Like, when the full-backs bomb on, is it Henderson? Yeah.
Henderson drops into me, the back is that 2 or 3.
Even when Fabinho's fit and we've got a full defence and he's in midfield, is it always Henderson still?
If Fabinho would dip in, but like he's not as good with the ball as Henderson is. No. So his passing range is quite poor. So at times, he's got a great long lofted pass and he's had assists from that, like where he's got it straight over the last line. Was that a pen there?
Thiago would be the best, wouldn't he, at that?
Yeah.
When they're all fit.
He could just drop into the 6 and dictate the play, but a player that hasn't even played 290 minutes and we're missing him is strange. Yeah, it is a pen.
Oh, it is a pen, yeah.
Penalty to Leicester, Iheanacho. We'll give it to you live.
Put it in, lad.
He looks confident. He's got a steely look in his eye.
Well, he's a relaxed guy, isn't he, Iheanacho? Vardy's
made up on the bench. Oh, fucking pen, lads. You should have seen his little chavvy face there. Iheanacho stepping up, left-footed.
He's a bit of Jorginho. Oh.
Stutter in the run-up. Save!
Fucking hell.
What a save, though.
Yeah, a good save.
Guita, high to his left.
On these pens, Fernandes, Jorginho, that stupid hop. Fuck off, lad. Yeah. It doesn't do anything.
No, just strike your penalty with conviction. I mean, he hit the ball well enough, but he's done a stuttered run-up, and then Guita has got up high to his left-hand side to make the save. It was a good penalty save, as opposed to a bad strike. Actually, no, when you look at the replay, it was pretty central, so ignore the last 30 seconds of it. But yeah, poor penalty. Vardy's on the bench now, like, shit, get banged, Iheanacho.
I was, have you seen his pre-match drink? Or
his pre-match lean.
It's something like 4 espressos and 2 Red Bulls. And it's apparently he just listens to house music, but like, I don't know if I'm stereotyping him here, but you know what Gabba is?
No.
Oh, it's this music, but it's like, I'm not going to attempt to do it, but anyone out there, just have a listen to Gabba and think of Jamie Vardy's pre-match ritual, and you'll be like, Steve was exactly right. I can imagine Vardy doing this with headphones on.
Imagine it just like out loud in the dressing room, though. Like, you'd have like Soyuncu, like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Like, he'd just be, strike that! Oh, sorrow.
Evers.
Lucky lad.
His dad was a footballer, you know.
Soyuncu?
Harvey Barnes.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that. There's an injury. Jose Perez is down.
I'd have him or us. Not that you get in the team, but he's a bit of a Klopp player, isn't he? Like Harvey Barnes.
Oh, Barnes, yeah.
You know, future type thing. And
no, he is. And to Rodgers' credit, he has brought through players like that. Like, he gives them the chance. Like, they spent, was it 25 million on Maddison?
Yeah.
And it was it Norwich?
J-Mads. Yeah, they bought him from Norwich.
Fucking hell. Stino's them all.
I don't like Maddison, by the way. I don't like him.
You liked them when he come up, though?
I liked them at Norwich.
You can compare him to Ronaldo?
I said keep an eye out. I was comparing him to the United Ronaldo, just before anyone goes, what? Like, and starts overreacting. You watch J-Mads just watch a bit of J-Mads and watch him at Norwich and tell me that's not Cristiano Ronaldo in his early United days. You know, pace.
Why is he playing wide?
All over, lad, but bit of pace, skill, you know, the way he carried himself. It was very similar to Ronaldo. It's more the confidence thing. And he is a skillful player, Maddison. But he still does it at this level in the league, but not as much as he did for Norwich in the Championship, which is to be expected.
Yeah, oh shit, Palace are in here.
That was great play.
Brilliant play from Wilf. Is he going to score? No, he just fell over. He took an interception well.
His career's gone on it. Like, he's probably lost that big move now.
He's at Palace now, and part of it, you think it's good, don't you? Like, it's nice to see someone stay at like the local club, and he is a talisman there. But you think back to when Everton signed Balassi, and you think, why didn't they sign Zaha at that time? Like, I think they went in with 70 million for Zaha last year,
Oh,
and then on the last day of the season, they panicked and signed Iwobi, who was just utter poo.
You might be right, yeah.
I'm not often wrong, but
yeah,
it is an interesting season, and I think Klopp's already said, hasn't he, if we win the league this year, which I do think we will, just put me neck on the line, then he said it'll be the biggest achievement of his life, because there's how difficult it's been, and it's been hard for everybody. But when we were talking to Paul yesterday, and he was saying there's 4 or 5 teams that are trying to win games, the rest of the league are trying not to lose.
Yeah, that's great point.
And when you come up against that, it's so difficult to be at the top of the table and to win games, because when you're playing teams like Tottenham, Arsenal, Everton, and they're coming not to lose. Like, we used to play Arsenal and it'd be a fucking gunslinging match, 4-4, 5-4, like Arshavin scoring 4. Like, you just didn't know who was going to win them games, and they were brilliant to watch. And now they come and they just play 6 at the back, and that's testament to where we are. But then you've got to look at teams like Fulham that are brave and that have tried to take points off the bigger teams. It was like Norwich last season when they went down, they didn't stop playing, and that's stupid to a degree. But when you're Arsenal, United, like United under Mourinho, anyone under Mourinho are not trying to win.
Yeah.
They're really not.
Well, Arsenal, have spent 70 mil on Pepe, and then the thing is, I've always said with them over the years, they've, it looks to be like they've actually put round pegs in round holes. They've done the right thing. Then the players have arrived and they're just shite.
Well, like they signed Leno. They signed that Gabriel this season. He had one game. Everyone was saying Arsenal have answered their problems. And then there was a big debate. Like, I think Arsenal had beaten United. Arsenal beat United this year.
Yeah. Old Trafford.
So Arsenal beat United, and all the pundits were waxing lyrical. And Micah Richards and Tim Cahill were on the panel with Roy Keane. And they were going on about Arsenal, and Tim Cahill was obviously right up Arteta's arse. And he's like, you can see what Micah's trying to do. And all that. I don't know what accent that was. But he was saying... he was saying all that. And Roy Keane was just like, do me a favour, Tim. He was like going off on him, saying, basically, Arsenal are crap. They've come to Old Trafford and done nothing and just won because United were poor. Yeah. And he was saying, Arsenal, the people are going on like they've got some identity. Look where they are in the league, lad. They're 10 points off Champions League already. 10 points already from the top 4.
Well, that's gone, innit?
Yeah, it's gone.
The best you can hope for is a top 10 finish.
That's Arsenal we're talking about, though.
I know. Do
you know what I mean? And they've spent money, as you've said.
Theirs hasn't come overnight, though. This has been banging on the door for 10 years.
I mean, look at Wenger and how much they wanted Wenger out. There was one season he finished 5th and he still won the FA Cup.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, fucking hell, the grass isn't always greener.
No, that's true. They probably did need to move on, but
maybe keep him there, though, in a capacity, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get him in the back room, let him teach Arteta the ropes, or whoever it is that comes in. We done it with Rafa. It got to the point where it was like, oh, well, top 4 and getting to Champions League finals isn't enough anymore.
Yeah.
So we fucked him off, and look what happened to us for 10 years.
Well, we dipped that second year, didn't we?
Yeah.
And then we fucked him off. Should have kept him for another year, maybe. Oh, he had a bit of a dispute, though, didn't he? The ownership was going downhill with Hicks and Gillette.
Yeah.
And he had all these analogies, like, I want a couch, but he got me a lampshade. He couldn't get the players he wanted and all that, so he fucked off.
Well, Torres was saying that, weren't he? They made me promises that they were going to sign this player and that player, and then Alonso left and Mascherano left, and, well, in the other way around, and he was like, and then I was sat there thinking, the players they're bringing in, we were close and now we're miles away.
Yeah.
You can say all that, mate, but you still went to Chelsea, do you know what I mean? And
that's testament, though. It's way more important keeping your good players than signing.
Yeah.
Good players, because that shot us in the foot a couple of times, that letting players go after we've just nearly won the league.
Well, with the Coutinho situation at the time, we were in a good place and no one wanted him to go nevertheless. But if we didn't sign Coutinho, we don't sign Alisson, we don't sign Virgil.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why we won the league. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, with us as well, it's like, if Mane was to get injured for a few games, we can still win a match 4-0.
Yeah.
We're not that reliant on a particular attacking player because the style is so overloading and overcrowding for the opposition.
Well, it talks to your point about DCL yesterday. Like, I know you're a big fan of Calvert-Lewin, and he's always had it. You can always see that he's had it, and everyone's like, well, Duncan's got a grip of him now and he's more aggressive, and yeah, that's fair enough, and you can see that in his game. Best leap in Europe. Yeah, well, I haven't seen anyone better, but
I showed you that effort yesterday, and go and watch it if you haven't seen it, but if he scores this goal against Sheffield, I think that's goal of the season.
He's hit it too well, hasn't he?
Yeah.
If he cuts across it and scuffed it a bit more, it probably hits the net. But
that's confirming his leap, because he leaps to get up onto his chest and sets himself.
Oh, Palace nearly scored. But my whole point with that is, and I said it to you, it's too difficult away to win a game. And it's the same with Tottenham. You're trying for this one specific thing all the time. Get the ball into DCL, he'll get it under, get it in the air, let him fight for it. You can't. Well, what if he's injured?
Oh, yeah.
Who's going to come in?
Like
fucking Sentosin?
Like you said on WhatsApp, football shouldn't be that difficult.
Shouldn't be.
He's going into every game knowing I've got a 90-minute battle on me.
Yeah, every game he's got to fight. And
2 centre-backs, like maybe 3 in some games, depending on the formation of the opposition.
Say you're like going up against, obviously this is a couple of seasons ago, but say that's your game and you're going up against Robert Huth and Wes Morgan in that Leicester season.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake. Can you be arsed with that?
No, I know. I need some support. Yeah.
It's a full-on battle. Like, do you need to get players higher up the pitch and have players spinning off his runs?
Yeah.
You've got quality in that side. Play like you have. Stop playing like shitbags and try and win games as opposed to not losing them. And Everton will be sitting there saying, like, what are you chatting? We're second in the league. Yeah, you are, but you're not, if that makes sense.
It's every time they step up, they revert back. They revert to type, don't they? Where they're playing City tomorrow. Yeah. They won't come and play against City.
Is it not today?
Oh yeah, today. So they won't stamp their authority on how they play at home to.
They'll just try and
West
stop
Brom.
City.
Yeah. It's all about stopping City. Like, there's a team here with better players, a better plan than ours. We'll have to react to how they play. But you've spent $500 million. You've got one of the best managers since the 2000s. Go and play your own fucking game now.
Well, they haven't got an identity. That's what you were saying yesterday, and we were saying how long do you say a club is building? Because they've been building since Moyes, and they've had to reconstruct and deconstruct a few times, and it hasn't quite clicked. And under Martinez, they had a style of play. Under Moyes, they had a style of play. It was very fast-paced, aggressive wing play, and it was so hard. I hated playing the Tim Cahill, Pienaar, Baines.
Yeah, well, I said the other day that
Pienaar
Baines left side, like, I don't think there's many better left sides in Premier League history than that.
No, it's definitely right up there, like, at least top 3.
Yeah, like, just that connection they had. They didn't have it on the right side.
The only one
like I said, the right fullback was Tony Hibbert. So, but Baines and Pienaar, like, it was telepathy.
The only one I'd say, top of my head, was outright better was Ashley Cole Perez, but that's only because they won shit.
Well, that's it, innit?
Do you know what I mean?
Cole's a better defender than Baines, but Baines is so much better than Cole in other attributes.
Baines was like, I know it sounds odd, but he was a proper modern day left back. I know he's only just retired, but I'm talking like 12 years ago.
Oh yeah, one of the first, weren't he, to play as you do now.
He could have went to anyone in Europe. Yeah. At a point, he was that good, like in Baines. He had his injury issues, which was a shame, but just to go to my point with Everton, what's their identity now? Like, what was it under Silva? What was it under Koeman? You've got a manager there who's renowned for his defensive capabilities. He's done jobs on Liverpool in the past. He's done jobs on everyone in the past at every club he's been to. But I don't think that's enough for Everton. And that United game the other day, United were there to be beat.
Well, it's every time they step up in it, like we just said, they play a better team than them. They're probably not winning. They do beat teams like that, but they don't make it easy.
No, they are doing well. You've got to give them the due. But as you say, $500 million spent, 4 managers in however many years, players coming in, coming out, directors of football. Like, there's got to be a point where you go, this is Everton, this is how we play, and we're sticking to it.
I wonder if Fat Joe's corruption on forcing contracts is linked to the stadium. Like,
well, he was trying to get the taxpayer to pay for the fucking stadium, weren't he, for a while?
Yeah.
The Liverpool taxpayer will foot some of the costs. Didn't foot the costs for fucking the Anfield extension, did he?
That shouldn't be the case, though, when you've got a rich billionaire private owner.
Well, he was under investigation through Panorama.
I know, it's supposed to be, isn't he Usmanov's accountant?
Usmanov's fella, yeah.
Something like
so
that.
There was all that controversy, weren't there? But
who'd have known there'd be corruption with a Russian and an Iranian?
I know, and a fat Chippy Tits from Liverpool, but best nickname ever, Chippy Tits, isn't it?
Yeah.
They were calling Sam Allardyce Chip. They were calling Sam Chippy Tits yesterday in the cabbage. Fuck off, Chippy Tits. That's all I could hear. But it is. It's an interesting season, and City aren't quite there yet. We're not quite there yet. I still think if it wasn't City play, there's no one better. To be honest with you, I think when City play at the best, they're still better than us to watch.
Yeah, well,
I do.
On Blob, like the players that you've got in it, you forget who like Mahrez gets into any side in the world.
And he's just like a squad player for them.
Yeah, like, it sounds stupid saying that, like Mahrez gets into any side in the world, but, Barca, Real, he gets into them at the minute.
Yeah.
Real have got a couple of good wingers in Vinicius and Rodrigo. I don't know if you've seen them.
The two Brazilian kids, yeah.
But, like, he gets in our side, Mahrez. I know Salah's, like, better stats and all that, he scores more, but you could easily play Mahrez over Salah, just as you could easily play Salah over Mahrez.
Better dribbler in Europe, in an attacking sense. Like, the way everyone knows, he's like a shitter Messi.
Well, he won FPL, what is it?
Yeah.
Player of the Year, didn't he, in 16?
Well, everyone knows, don't they, what he's going to do.
Yeah.
But you can't stop it.
Yeah.
He still gets past you and gets a shot away.
Like Iron Robin a bit.
Yeah.
Like that,
he's
what he's going to do.
He's got such a jink in him, in his step, and it's undefendable at times.
But like I say, their players are better than ours like that, and when they all tick, they are better than us, you'd say, but it just goes to show styles make fights, as they say, and
we're made to stop them, aren't we?
Yeah,
We've just got it in us.
It just shows systemised football is better than
individuals.
Like that's what Klopp's perfected, systemised football.
Well, we've been kryptonite since forever, haven't we? Whenever we've played City since they've had money, don't get me wrong, they've took points off us, probably more than we took off them, but over the past few years, they just haven't been able to really get the better of us in the Champions League as well.
They've not won at Anfield since 2003, have they?
Have they not?
In all comps, yeah. The last time they won, Anelka scored.
Oh, yeah.
So the only ground they've got against us is only at their place, and we've still won a few of them.
Yeah, that's fair enough points. I know, like, you've got to just love watching De Bruyne, haven't you? Like, regardless of who you support. Like, United fans, they must think, fuck's sake, I hate the fact that they've got him.
He's the closest I've seen to Gerrard, like, since Gerrard's retired.
He's different, though, isn't he?
He's different.
He's more classy, and he's less all action.
Body language type, yeah. Like, De Bruyne's weight of pass is probably a touch better than Gerrard's. Actually, from any angle, he can put it onto your foot. As Gerrard could, but, I'd rather have Gerrard, but I wouldn't sniff at having De Bruyne anyway.
I don't think anyone would sniff at that, would they?
But it's just a bit of a mad comparison, but I'm just saying, like, that's how good he is. He's the closest I've seen to Gerrard in body language and all that since, Gerrard's been playing.
It's dead surprising that, like, a Madrid or a Bayern or a Barca haven't come in for him. More so in Madrid, like, you can just see him in the white of Madrid, couldn't you?
Yeah, like, turning defence into attack.
Yeah.
In the blink of an eye and then driving.
No, he is top level. And this podcast or chat or whatever you want to call it, being proper random.
Yes.
And all over the place. But we said we weren't gonna have a topic for the first one back, didn't we?
We did.
And we just get back into the zone and start churning them out. And obviously we're looking to go video in the future. We're looking to get guests on and things like this. So if anybody does want to come on and have a chat with us, regardless of who it is. Before COVID, we had a few people requesting some collabs, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, yeah.
Different channels as well, and obviously just friends of ours and guests that we're eyeing up. But we're going to put a bit of an assault on it in 2021, so we just kind of wanted to get at least one under our belts and on the air before New Year, didn't we, really?
Correct.
So I don't know if are we done? Are we happy to wrap up, or are we going to keep rambling on?
I'm happy to wrap up. There's not much more else to say, really.
Well, in real time, it's Crystal Palace 0, Leicester 0. Iheanacho's missed a penalty.
Yeah, that's 55 minutes done anyway.
Where you go.
So,
back under the bag. Sound. Well, we'll see you next time.
See you next time, fans.
Ta-da, ta-da.
Yeah, there are always a couple of people who can tell you, yeah, but you didn't win. So now, let's talk about six, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be.